guys, just quickly hopping onto the video before it starts with my beautiful, majestically frozen face here to tell you guys that this video, a lot of it, the early parts, will be talking about what decks are best and what you can do with your card levels. So skip ahead if you just want to see gameplay and you don't want to hear what is best for the different various trophy levels. Because at the end of the second half of the video, I will be playing some ladder matches with good trophy decks as well. So yeah. As shown by the thumbnail and title, we are going over the decks that are best for gaining trophies, reaching your new personal best, and etc. So there's no one answer for, in my mind, there's no one answer for like. So I'm gonna break this up into 3 parts. I'm gonna talk about like people who are beginners, between like 0 to 3,000, and then people that are trying to break above like 4,000, get to like 5,000. And then finally, I'm going to talk about like top ladder and getting a season ranking with like 10,000, the top 10,000 in the world, up to top 200. So let's start. And this is going to be theoretical because there's no one deck from 0 to 3,000. I do lump these together, although you don't have all the cards unlocked. I lump these together because they are pretty similar. The decks are the decks used are almost completely random. It's gonna be like giant decks, and then I think Hog it comes pretty soon. I guess not immediately. Usually it's giant decks early on, and then like Balloon gets thrown in, I believe. But I mean, if I am to make a new account, I think the same day I make the account, I hit like 1,000 trophies, which gets you all of these cards. Of course, that's not true of someone who's a beginner, but I will say up to 4,000 or up to 3,800, which is Legendary Arena, you can totally. I mean, if you're really good, I guess I am good. But if I've made a few new accounts, and in 2 months they were 3,800 with underleveled, or not. Of course, underleveled. You're always going to be facing people that are higher leveled than you, but with below tournament standard cards and below tournament standard King Tower. I mean, that's how, and we're going to get into that. That's how you, I mean, there's level 1s that have hit 4,000. Of course, they have a ridiculous amount of matches played, and they just try to get someone that doesn't know how to play against them. But for sure, if you use these tips, you'll be able to get higher trophies really quickly. So the first example I'm going to use. All right, I'll wait for this example to the second portion. So the first portion is just use your best card levels. Okay, well start. Here's your starting plan. Number 1, you should have a deck that uses your best levels, and you should level it up to about tournament standard cards, which means level 9 commons, level 7 rares, level 4 epics, and you should only do this with one deck. So I mean, this can be like a. Well, we'll go through the cards that are best for this too. I'll do that right now, actually. So the cards that are best to level up as a part of your trophy pushing deck. This is the deck that I would say is going to get you to like 4,000 trophies. And skip ahead if this doesn't apply to you, of course. It's going to be cards like Goblin Gang. Swarm cards are really good. I will say in this meta, a lot of people higher up are going to be running like Triple Spell, and you'll have Wizard. But I mean, you have to bait out spells. It's just how the decks are run. And of course, if that's not comfortable to you, then don't use it. But I'm going to talk about the cards that are good at low level and the cards that you should use to achieve your trophy high. Before we go farther into that though, the second thing is you should have a deck that is commons and rares and will level up the fastest in the long run. So you should pick pretty much these 2 decks. You should either pick Hog Cycle, which is amazing once you get it maxed, and it's possible of getting it. There are top 200 players that still use Hog Cycle, and this is not a hard deck to level up, and you can substitute Zap for Log. This is a deck that'll be relevant. You can use Knight or Ice Golem as well, but every other card, just these, even if you're using another deck and upgrading it according to what your card levels are best, you should always be requesting for this deck. This is your long-term deck, and this is what will eventually make you go as high as possible. So this deck, and this can either be this deck or it can be like Hog Mortar. Lava Balloon, of course, good at pretty much everything, but that's a hard deck to level up, so you can't use it really. So like Hog Mortar like this, of course this guy's not higher level, but there are Hog Mortars. I know there was one, I looked at it earlier. Right here, yeah, top, so 83rd. He doesn't even have a max log, and he's 83rd in the world. So Hog Mortar, not Mortar Cycle so much anymore, but like the Mortar Swarm decks, those are all good. So I would either request Swarm cards and look into making and Mortar. Mortar may get nerfed, I'm not sure, but I would go with Hog Cycle personally. But Always look to upgrade and buy the shops of this deck. And the other deck that you're going to use, so I mean, we'll go over what you can use. So I will say, when you're trying to hit your trophy high, always use legendaries, and I'll go over which legendaries are the best for that. So I would not use, I don't really like Mega Knight anymore. I don't like Lava Hound for pushing it, because these are cards that need like very specific decks built around them. You want like really good universal cards that can work with almost anything, that can work with your other highest level cards. And I don't like Graveyard, it needs a structured deck. So Electro Wiz, good in almost any deck. So if you have a level 1 or level 2 E-Wiz up to like 4,000 and slightly above in trophies, I would use them. As a part of your deck that you're using to reach your trophy high, I'd use Electro Wiz, I'd use Lumberjack, I would only use Inferno Dragon if you have a lot of Zap Bait. I would use Sparky in a tank deck. You don't have to have Zap Bait, but it helps. Night Witch in a tank deck. So also, this is another thing. So a lot of times you get epics that are pretty high level, just because you receive a ton all at once. Whether you buy like the special offer and get like a bunch of epics. If you have Golem at like level 3 or level 4, use it, because, okay, so this is the example I was talking about. My friend recently got to, or he had never been to 4,000 trophies before, and I looked at his decks and I'm like, not only are these terrible, they're using really bad card levels. This is a high school friend that I grew up with. So I looked at his card levels, and while at first I thought, okay, so what are his best commons and rares? But then I realized he has like level 8 commons because he levels up all the stuff he likes. But then he has a level 5 golem, or a level, like, he had like 8 or 9 commons, but then he has a level 5 golem. And what we ended up using, and I also looked at some other people that had high trophies with his card levels, and you can look up stuff like that on RoyaleAPI. I looked and I saw that he has like a level 5 golem, level 5 Dark Prince, level 5 Prince, and then when you threw in like a Mega Minion and a Pump, and Golem is really good at climbing those ranks because people do not know how to handle, beatdown pushes if you know how to get elixir leads. So kind of like the Golem videos I've had recently, if you know how to get an elixir lead with Golem, you will overwhelm in double elixir, and that's a really good way to climb trophies up to like 4,000. So this is your short-term plan, is use your legendaries and possibly your epics if they're a high enough level. And then your long-term plan is not to request these cards. You are not requesting the cards that you're going to use in the short term that you have the best levels of. You will upgrade them. That's okay, because you need to have something to do short-term and ladder. And of course, if you can't afford it, then you should be getting the bundles you get when you level up in the arenas. That progresses you really fast. I did that on my mini account that I leveled up. I can't show the gameplay, unfortunately, because they're secret. I use them to practice. But I think they removed gems, which is really unfortunate, because what I'm doing on my account, and this may not, and they may still be value for you to get these chests and the gold, but I think they removed the gems from the arena rank up offers. The reason gems are so good is because you stack it up from leveling up. There's so much value, and then you use those gems to play grand challenges. Of course, if you're gonna play grand challenges, this is like your ladder plan. If you're gonna play grand challenges, then you should save gems, and I mean, of course, you should always save gems, but then you may have to level up a few other cards because you won't have tournament standard, a grand challenge tournament standard deck, or you could use your ladder deck, but that probably won't work as well. But yeah, always save gems and use them on classic or grand challenges, but that's not what we're talking about here. Alright, so we kind of talked about that. So once again, cards we're going to go over, like Electro Wiz, Lumberjack, Sparky is really nice behind Golems especially. Night Witch can be good behind tanks. I wouldn't use Magic Archer, I wouldn't use Ice Wizard, I would use Princess because she just generates so much pressure and a lot of players don't know how to deal with her. So she can get a lot of value in these early stages. Log is good. If you get a Log, you should use it just because it's such a good card. Ghost can be good, Bandit can be good. Not the best compared to these others, but then Miner can be good, especially in Swarm decks to tank for them. And then moving on, if you have like a level high P.E.K.K.A, use that, a high level P.E.K.K.A. If you have a high level Prince, I wouldn't use Expo because that requires a lot of like commons and stuff that need to be, that's a good high level deck, but it's not a good low level deck because you need stuff to be around it. P.E.K.K.A gets value, Golem gets a lot of value, Prince gets a lot of value, and I'm skipping the ones that don't. You could technically use Witch if you have a high level behind a tank, but I wouldn't. She's just not that good. Dark Prince, possibly Baby Dragon. Poison wouldn't make much of a difference. but if it's higher than your Fireball, then why not? And then I wouldn't really use Goblin Barrel. If your Goblin Barrel gets zapped, it's just not a good win condition because their zap will kill it if it's a low level. Guards if they're high, I guess, but not as much. Moving on, if you do have to use a rare or common in your deck, it needs to be something just like Fireball. This is for like the earlier, like I said. And then Musketeer is one of the cards that you want to request, but not the ones you want to use early on. Mega Minion can be used early on if it's behind in a tank deck. I do recommend mostly using tank decks. Like Golem or Giant is ideal with all these legendaries and stuff. It just is it's easier to use, and it's also easier. It's easier just to like allow some damage or to mostly defend early game and then just to overwhelm them at the end of the game. Because otherwise, what I find when you try to use minor decks and stuff is they just defend with like, if you use like a Swarm Troop, they just use a Wizard or something, and then if you use like a minor, they use E-Barbs, and then you have to deal with the counter push, and sometimes that overwhelms you and you take damage, just because your cards are inadequate compared to theirs. So you kind of want to overwhelm them all at once, because they'll make bad decisions on a big push, but it's much less likely for them to make mistakes against a chip deck. So it's definitely tank decks that kind of rule the day in the early arenas, in my opinion, if you play them correctly. And then moving on, I will say, like, even behind tanks, like Goblin Gang. Well, oh, I left out the best epic. Freaking Skarmy is so good. Skarmy is like amazing. It's on legendary level in terms of how much value it gets, and it works really well with like Goblin Gang, Minion Horde if you can level up those cards. So yeah, that's about it. Those combinations of cards, and then moving on, we're going to talk about getting from like the 4,000s to like 5,000, and well, I mean, we already kind of talked about that. That's like your hog cycle. You're requesting, you're getting this deck to as close as max as possible, and you need to be requesting it from. You need to pick a deck and then request it, and every single time that should be what you request is cards for like your hog cycle or your mortar. And then finally, we're going to talk about from like 5,000 to getting to a rank, and then getting to a rank to top 200. And we're going to talk about the meta, because there is a very defined meta between that. So because people all request Mortar, there are a lot of Swarm decks, and Swarms are like all these common cards that are really good together. There are a lot of Swarm decks, and you can use these Swarms more at lower arenas in my opinion, but once you get to like 5,000 and above for this season where it's longer, you're going to run into so many triple spell decks where like decks like these are, you'll see them in top 200, but just because something is in top 200 doesn't mean it's going to be good for you necessarily, because everyone is, because of the meta of like the level 12 players and the level 11 players that are playing up to level 13s because they're good, that have been playing, they're going to be playing Mortar Hog mostly, and Storm decks. So you can't play Storm decks like this. That's why I like Hog Cycle. There is no like, I mean, Tornado just got nerfed, so there really isn't like too many like hard counters. Mortar also is kind of good to play even still because it draws so well. Expo also draws a lot, so maybe you don't like pushing with those. You need to have like a steady push. You can't push up all at once. But definitely don't run Swarm decks in that arena, in that area. A Golem is actually really good in that area too, to push through like what they call Death Valley, and then all these Swarm decks and Mortars, because Golem destroys them. So yeah, you see a lot of Swarm decks in that area, and you see a lot of decks that counter Swarm decks. So that's why I really like Hog Cycles. But once you get to like top 1,000 and above, decks like this are really good because people start running like max, epic, and legendary decks, more like normal grand challenge decks, because it's basically the same thing, just a shorter overtime. So that's when decks like these are really good, is when you're in top 200. So if you already have like Hog Cycle or a Golem deck, you can possibly push up with that until you're past the like triple spells, which is, there still is some of it in top 200, but not as much. So yeah, that's better. That's when this deck becomes more relevant, because early on it's tough. Yeah, so I mean, like I said, for the example I was using earlier with my friend is, even though you don't want to long game a Golem deck necessarily, Golem may have an exception just because it's easy to play. But like, so we swapped out like this for Dark Prince and Prince, and then we swapped out that for like Ice Spirit, and then Poison. We even used Poison because he had level 5 Poison, but it worked, and he pushed up to like 4,300 or 4,400, and he was stuck at like 3,800 before that. So and I taught him how to play Golem because I played a few games for him, and then I showed him, and then he pushed up even higher by himself because I was able to show it. So yeah, those are the things. That's kind of how you should build your accounts from the bottom up. I mean, for those that are stuck, I mean, of course, I'm a good player, like I said, but I made an account that I play like maybe 2 times a week, And I bought this. I did buy special offers, but I had it for like 2 months, and it's already at like Legendary Arena. So if you use your cards wisely and you don't just waste all your gold, you can definitely early game get to like 4,000, reach your like goal, and then of course during this entire process of leveling up, because you will have to get the chests and try to keep chests going and try to do your clan wars, and then eventually, I mean, during this entire time you're requesting and you're building up for your long game deck, which would be like Hog Cycle. So this is mostly like a concept video, but yeah, so like this is a good top 200 deck. This is a good deck for everywhere, and then Golem decks are really good at the lower arenas. I can build that one so you guys can see it. So like Prince, and I can even play a couple games with this one. So because that's how I'm gonna end it, is I'm gonna play with this deck and then I'll play with the other one. Yeah, so this is a really good deck around like if you have the levels, of course. I mean, you don't have to have crazy levels to use this, of course. From like 3,800 to like 4,500, and Golem in general just is really nice, even if you don't have the levels. And then other than that, the decks that you should use when you're lower are like swarm decks, like take advantage of like Sparky and Skeleton Army, because they stay relevant until like 4,500-ish, I would say. Alright, so let's hop into a battle with this deck. I can't upgrade that Prince, I wish I could. And then I'll play a couple Hog Cycle games. I know it was a lot of talking, but you can always skip through. And I think it was good to go over regardless. I haven't pushed up crazy amounts, but I'm gonna probably make a Hog Cycle video as well. So yeah, with Golem, oh, I forgot to put Pump in. What did I not take out? That witch? Oh, I did put a Pump in, okay, yeah. Goblin, Barrel, and Hog, okay. Oh, he doesn't have a big spell, I would assume. I'm gonna wait until I'm at 10 elixir. He's still gonna have to deal with this Prince. He'll take a hit. Nope, I had it with the Knight. That was good for me though. Oh, she hit my pump. I didn't really have a better answer for the Goblin Barrel there. Yeah, that Hog, he just didn't have elixir left to defend, so Prince ends up getting through. I could have played my Mega Minion a little bit earlier, but still, I hadn't damaged and still early game, so that's fine. I want to pump in the middle because he'll Goblin Barrel it. We'll go Dark Prince to defend it. Cool. Ooh, nice, he didn't surround it, he should have surrounded. We're gonna go ahead and, even though we have more damage on the left side, we're gonna go ahead and play Golem in the back right, because now if he hogs, he's gonna have to do it left side. We don't want him to be able to hog the right side, cycle back to it. That's threatening for me, so. Yeah, and now he's pushing into us, which you should never do that, because now I'm just gonna overwhelm him. Yeah, good idea for him to switch lanes. At this point, I'll just ignore it. If he stops this Prince, he'll get 3 crowns, so. He decided to stop this Prince, so he's gonna get 3 crowns. Like I said. Nice. Take more damage than you like, but still a 3 crown, solid win. So there's a game of that deck. And then let's hop into some ladder with the Hog Cycle. Show you guys how to play that a little bit. Like I said, I'm not near top 200 yet, so I don't really want to use the giant 3-must deck yet, although it is really nice once you get past all the triple spell. You can't use it before then, same with 3-must. You just want to wait typically, because it can be annoying. Whew. Max P.E.K.K.A. at 5200. I'm playing Musketeer in the back right because you never want to put her where both your cannon and your Musketeer can be hit. Musketeer defense. I want to take advantage of that Musketeer with 1 HP and throw down my Hog. I did that too late. He would have finished off the E-Barb if I had logged faster and played the skeletons faster. Now I'm going to have to take that damage because that's not worth going down two more elixir for the Ice Golem. If I'm behind, it's about like 1 elixir now. If I would have played Ice Golem, I would have been behind by a large amount, so. Okay, I'm ahead by like 1. But yeah, it wasn't enough damage to warrant going down an elixir. You want to keep the elixir lead. I want to give too much value to P.E.K.K.A. I really thought he would P.E.K.K.A. not 3 Musk. But I mean, I got Fireball value, so that's fine. He's gonna go E-Barbs, I'm assuming. Yeah. Probably should have played my Hog a little bit quicker. You want to play it when it's a low elixir so he doesn't have enough elixir to P.E.K.K.A. See, now I don't get a hit. Just too late there. I'm gonna go Ice Golem in the middle. Can't afford to Fireball that. And I got a lot of value. Nice. Yeah. I knew he was about to reach 10 elixirs, so I thought he'd play something in the back because he didn't really have anything else to play. So I'm able to get a hit off there. Ooh, that was bad. Oh, this is brutal. Yeah, I didn't have enough elixir to play P.E.K.K.A. I'll play E-Barbs, but gotta try to cycle for the win. He almost screwed up. My Musketeer almost got in. That's a dumb matchup. He has P.E.K.K.A. and E-Barb, so I couldn't really cycle through to get damage there, but I didn't lose. Maybe could have won if I would have played a little bit nicer. Defenses were nice, it's just he had like triple spell, Ice Spirit, Bats, so and I don't have Zap, so it's hard to get through on that one. Never gonna win though. He didn't have like a hard one condition other than 3 Musketeers, and Hog Cycle is really nice against 3 Musketeers. Playing Skeletons at 7 elixir here, so I can play a Hog at 10 elixir and have the support of the Skeletons. And he leaked 1 elixir, so it's like the Skeletons were free, and they can always possibly help the Hog. See, so I didn't Fireball on offense because that overcommits you. That means it's 8 for 5, and he gets a 3 elixir lead. So by holding Fireball there, I end up taking 0 damage. He would have overwhelmed me there, I think. The Battle Ram probably would have connected. Or it would have been a lot more threatening if I hadn't held that Fireball. So instead I wait and I get more value. It wasn't worth it for the tower damage there. I'm gonna go ahead and log because I'm assuming he's gonna have Goblin Gang. Okay, he had Goblins. He waited really long to play this. But I mean, he lost his tower as a result. Usually if you have minion horde, you have like goblin gang, so that's why I went for that. You're running like 3 musk or something. Fireball came out late. I think I can do now. Should have waited a little bit longer to play the fireball. He didn't use goblins, so he's gonna use them on the musketeer here. Yep. Woo, baby! Got it that time. Alright. And I got the pump too, so his elixir leads must have gone. I don't want to go over aggressive here, I'm just gonna defend. He doesn't have a big spell, but still gonna space this out. Okay, yeah, it is 3 musk. I meant to ice spirit, no. Okay, the left side's gonna die. I need to defend the right side. Okay, we're good. Oh, one. Nice predict there at the end. Got me a lot of damage. Alright, we'll do one more. I do recommend as well when you're playing early on, if like hitting your trophy high doesn't matter that much to you, you can focus more on if hitting your trophy high doesn't matter to you, which it does to most people because they like want to be high on ladder, then you should focus more on being slightly below where you should be in trophies, because then it's easier to get wins and it's easier to fill your chest slots. And it's more important to like fill your chest slots than it is to get the extra like 20 cards in your like next high tier chest or whatever. If you don't have enough time to get your chest, if you're playing just a ton, then it doesn't matter, because then you'll always have chests even if it's hard to win. But yeah. I thought he was gonna go minion horde. I don't want to waste fireball there because I don't have to use it. As a result, I only took like 1 minion hit. His rocket's out of cycle. That would have been rocket value, but he didn't have it, so. I'm surprised this deck doesn't have like goblins or goblin gang or spirit gobs. I was tempted to preemptive log there, but play my musketeer here because I don't want him to rocket it if I play it from the back. I'll go minion horde or rocket. Okay. Oh baby, let's go. So I can get 1 hit for that. Maybe 2. Okay, 2. Yeah, he had minion horde cycle, so he had to play it there. Cycle back to fireball. Yeah, so push hard into the 1 musk lane and then just fireball the 2 musk at the bridge. I think he'll rocket this based on his previous like patterns. Yeah, so I won't commit to that. I think he's gonna 3 musk in the middle now. Alright, we're gonna fireball the middle again. Go back to rocket. You should minion horde that. This guy plays so weird. Now we need a spell cycle. Actually, I think he's about to 3 musk. I should have spell cycled earlier. I didn't know he was gonna full on turtle, which is smart, I guess. Dude just cycles rockets. I thought he'd go minion horde instead of trying to cycle all his stuff. Weird match. I dislike ladder just because it's. I mean, I like practicing turn and standard the most. Obviously I can do pretty well at ladder, but it's just so annoying to draw constantly. It's not fun at all. I play to win or lose, not to draw. I'll play to win, but then if I lose, I'm okay with it. Goblin gang. I mean, this could be mortar, I guess. Well, I was gonna play hog, but usually don't want to play it at the back, but I'm gonna do it there because I didn't really have any other nice plays. Oh, okay. That's great. It lagged. It legitimately like lagged hardcore. Alright, I had the ice golem almost to your opposite side, so it pressured him into not being able to defend my hog. I wouldn't have taken any damage there, I don't think, if ice golem had come down in time. Nice. Yeah, he didn't have anything else. What a wuss. He's trying to draw. He's gonna go offensive now because I'm spelling him out. I hate siege players. not siege players that are aggressive. I hate siege players that play to not lose. I hate that type of playstyle. Why? I don't like ladder. Too late, buddy. Another dub. Alright guys, on second thought I'm gonna end it on that one because I'm getting exhausted. Ladder is something I need to do over a space of time. So thank you for watching. I hope the tips helped and will help you climb. And I will get some more ladder gameplay with Hogsackle soon. Peace.